Rebranding is not a dirty word. People tend to think about it that way. Oh my God, rebrand my podcast? Rebrand my business? Gasp! What could we do? How? It's a failure. No, it's not. Not at all. Rebranding sometimes is very necessary and can be the exact thing that you need to unlock your business and your podcast. So, today, we're going to talk about the value of rebranding in podcasting, some business examples of rebranding, and the ways that you can see it as the perfect solution for your show. So, welcome into It's Not Just Talking. I'm Vince Quinn, your executive producer. I have developed the branding of dozens of podcasts. I have rebranded dozens of podcasts. And so we've spent a lot of time with this issue. That's what we're focusing on today. But later in the show, I did get a weird response from a podcast. They wanted to have me as a guest. I did not like that request, and I canceled the interview. I will tell you that story later. But let's get into rebranding and really what it is. By the way, hi, Taylor.
Oh, hi.
How you doing there, pal?
I'm very curious about rebranding. Would this be for a company or just podcast exclusive?
Well, it's going to start with the podcast, and then what I want to get into is there are business elements along the way. So I've got some examples which I will throw to you, Taylor does not know these, by the way, so I'm just going to hit them on the spot, and we'll get your reaction to those. I don't know if you remember, for example, Pepsi had a logo change maybe, 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, where everybody does the sleek, minimalist, modern, no design, where nobody has real character anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, and it's a lot of times when you see a rebrand like that, it's like, oh my God, how could they possibly rebrand? And then everybody in 3 weeks, they forget and they've accepted the thing. And they forgot that they ever cared in the first place. So it's like it's totally overstated whenever people do react to it. And on the other side of it, a lot of times we don't think about the times where a rebranding has been beneficial because we don't know how bad, like the bad thing, the poorly branded thing before. That's the issue, right? And that's the beauty of rebranding. So like when I look at this, I always see rebranding as you are presenting something in a new light. That's it. It's all it needs to be. You get all the emotion, all the stigma, all the bullshit, and you put that aside. You're presenting something in a new light. And sometimes it is bad, okay? Like
I was going to say sometimes it's to make a fresh coat of paint on something that everybody really hates.
Well, yeah. So there's definitely that. There's also times where something that people love is rebranded, and it does go poorly. So it does happen. Let me give you an example. Taylor, what are your thoughts about the name of a television company going by Max?
That doesn't really resonate at all because I don't know a TV channel called Max. Max, or is this Maximum? Is this the name of a man named Max? Is this company Max? Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
Right? It was so, like, when HBO became Max, that was a terrible rebrand. And then they did HBO Max and, like, all these things. And now they're going back to HBO again after being just Max. And it's like, it was all so stupid. It was all so dumb. People knew HBO. They'd established themselves as creators of, like, absolutely killer television for decades.
Yeah, 30 years. Yeah.
Right? And then, like, let's just change it just because. Like, okay, bad rebrand, right? And we will talk about some of the circumstances of when you should rebrand. Like, what should you consider? When is it time? So we'll get to that in a minute. But, like, that was a terrible one. Another recent one that was very high profile. What did you think about the Jaguar rebrand?
Wasn't it mainly just the logo? I saw a little bit of this, but I mean, out of all the major companies, I feel like Jaguar is like the last one I'd think about, especially car wise.
Yeah, I mean, they went super aggressive. So if you missed the Jaguar rebrand, what happened was they came out with a super loud, bright, like futuristic. And if you want to get political, you could say like liberal, right? Like this very loud campaign, and people rioted over it. And it got to the point where Jaguar actually hated that rebrand and is firing the agency that put it together. So yeah, and like again, we're spending a lot of time on bad rebrands up front, but like not all rebrands are bad. Okay, so I want to get to good rebrands. Let's talk about this one because this one is crazy to me. I did not know about this until I was doing research for this episode. Okay, what if we told people that if they wanted to send us an email, that you would found at like for me, if you were going to email me, let's say it was Vince Quinn at backrub.com.
What is that?
Do you have any idea? Yeah, backrub.com. Okay, what could that possibly be? Maybe it's backrub maps. Who knows? There's a lot of things that the backrub notes. Yeah, Taylor, the face on the look on your face is great. Backrub.com is the early name of Google.
Oh.
Google was called backrub.com.
As a internet search engine?
Backrub, yes. Which is, on some level, it's something we will talk about later with the crazy story that I had getting booked on a show. But they did it because they were talking about backlinks. So backlinks, backrub. But that is not good. Like, can you imagine how different it would be if one of the biggest companies on the planet was called Backrub? Who's on Backrub maps? And do you want to be listed there?
I mean, in an alternate universe, you could say, what if the biggest company was named Google? What the hell is a Google?
Well, at least it's not anything,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Like,
that's true.
like
yeah.
they defined meaning to, they gave meaning to a meaningless word.
Yeah.
But what backrub, dude, like you're playing at a disadvantage there.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the thing. You got something that had a strange name and a good product, and then became one of the biggest companies to ever exist ever. So, like, rebrands can be good. And again, to reinforce this point, they do happen all the time. Like, if you're talking about a song for a certain, like NBC, NBA on NBC, like there's all these different things where the theme music can change, logos change, labels change. When you're talking about drinks, for example, the labels there, they look different. Taglines change. So business models change. So there's so many different things that can change, which will prompt you to then have a rebrand. And there's a reason to change all of those individual things within a rebrand. So, like, let's bring this back then to podcasting, right? Because it can go all these different ways. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. For podcasting, here's why you should probably consider a rebrand. Everything that they tell you about starting a podcast as conventional wisdom is wrong for a business owner. Totally, completely inaccurate path of how to do this. You're not building the show for sponsors. You're not appealing to a large audience. Guests do not bring their audience to your show, and that's how everybody builds their show. So when your whole foundation is wrong, and that's why you built the show, and that's why you've been doing the show, and you've been doing all of that to grow your business, then, yeah, you're probably better off with a rebrand. This is your chance, and that's the thing. Oh, I've been doing the show, and how do I get it better? Maybe you don't, right? Like, there is opportunity here because your show, if you've been following this blueprint of sponsors, large audience, and getting guests on to bring their audience to you, well, then odds are you have low or no downloads. Your show's built for the wrong audience because it's built for everybody, and your business is not for everybody. And there's even a chance that from when you started and where you are now, your business has changed. Like, let's talk about us, Taylor. We've been doing this. We've been working together, me and you, for 5 years now, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
It's been 5 years now. How much have things changed in that time?
Just a little bit, wasn't really focused on doing one thing and sticking to one core service. We're doing a million different other things. So, yeah, definitely a night and day.
Yeah. So we have changed a ton, and that's in part, like, there's so many reasons for that, right? We didn't have One, I had no business experience.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing when I got into
I
business.
mean, to be fair, I don't think anybody does. Like anybody that's trying to start a business, they're always like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready yet." It's just like you're never going to be ready. So it's just like you have to learn on the fly, like on purpose, to get to a certain point.
Yeah, so it's okay. So now it's all this trial and error, and
Yeah.
that's what we've been doing for 5 years. I think we got to a point where we started to understand truly what the business was about a year and a half ago, and from there we've been able to refine and refine and refine and just like target down, deeper, and like now we've got a really solidified identity of who we are, of what we're about, the content we make that supports all of that because we know the exact customer that we're talking to, but our business has changed. And you listening, it might be the same thing for you. How much has your business changed? Your target customer, what you think your primary service is, the way that you're approaching your customers, local versus are you taking people nationwide? Like it can go a lot of different ways. So rebrand your show. Rebrand the show. This is your chance to get everything that you've done, all of this experience from doing all of these different interviews, putting all these episodes out, doing all of the editing, seeing the lack of response on that, working with different clients, seeing what clients you like, you don't like, what's profitable, what's not. You get to get all of that. And now this is a gift that you can totally control where you redefine what your business is about, the exact people you want to talk to, the main services that you want to offer, the problems that you solve, and how you're going to message that through your content. This is your time. This is your opportunity. So to look at this as, oh my God, I don't want to rebrand, like you can see now why that's so incredibly silly. It's not a failure. It's an acknowledgement that the other things have not worked or things have just changed. And it's your opportunity to go and change with them. So don't think, oh, I've been doing this show for a year, for 2 years. I got off a call with somebody earlier today, 3.5 years. They haven't seen the results. And so why hold yourself back because, oh my God, I can't possibly rebrand. What will people think? Well, you're probably rebranding because you're not getting the attention that you want. So they're not paying attention. It's okay. Like, this is it. So go rebrand your show. And what we're going to do next is we're going to dive a little bit more into the freedom of rebranding. And that's right after this. If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes. And each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. Okay, so we've cut a lot of the bullshit and bad feelings around rebranding. And what I want to do now is dive deeper into those advantages and get some detail of the different ways that if you're accepting the idea of, hey, it is time for me to rebrand, then how do you go about it? And here's the first point. You can do as big of a reset or as small of a reset as you choose. This can be gigantic in terms of comfort, right? It's not, oh, I have to like if I'm doing a rebrand, I have to redo everything. Like I said earlier, Pepsi, they're just changing the logo. It's still a blue can. That's it. That might be all you need right now. Like you might need to just update your cover image and have something that is more catchy, that looks a little cleaner. Maybe your business has been going for a little while and you've gotten a few more customers and you're running more efficiently. So, hey, go invest in somebody that can just get you a better cover image because it's the first thing that a lot of people see. It's how you literally catch people's eyes. And then from there, they go, oh, that's interesting. What's that? Okay, let me go read the description. Maybe that's all your rebrand needs to be is literally the visuals need a tweak. But the other side is maybe it is everything. And it turns out that you're changing the title of the show, you're changing the logo of the show, you're changing the description of the show, you're changing the format of the show. But you're doing that, and it's not like you have to create all over again necessarily. You're just rebuilding it around what your business is. So as you're answering all of these questions, if you think you need a full rebrand, and it is the logos and the segments and the copy and like all the stuff, well then, yeah, what is your business? Who do you talk to? make sure that those people know, and it's very clear in the description that it is for them, and just start doing episodes for them. It doesn't need to be a new feed. If anything, keep your feed. You built that feed. You have an audience. Whatever people have subscribed over the years, there's value in that. So maintain that. And now the show's evolved. You don't have to bury it. And that's a feeling that I've seen recently too, talking to people, is like they have a show and they've been doing it for so long that to move on and essentially give that up, they feel like they're killing that show. But what I explained to them was, no, that it's the same feed. Those episodes will still be there, and it's just part of the history and evolution of the show. But keep moving forward, take what you can from that, and whatever elements worked, right? Not everything from your show, if you're rebranding, was necessarily bad. It's just, what are the things that have value? How do you bring that into this new version, having a renewed focus of who you're talking to and how it ties into your business? Like, that's all good.
And then when you're doing that rebrand, when you're promoting it, it's going to look different to people, and that's a prime opportunity for them to get reacquainted with whatever your show is. So it really coincides with everything.
And that was my next major point for all of this. Exactly. Is, yeah, like, hey, people, if you update the show, there's going to be things around it where, yeah, hey, you've got a new intro song and it's way shorter. Please have shorter intros. Please, for the love of God. We'll do that another day, but shorter intros. If you're doing that kind of stuff, people who are regular listeners and people who start to engage with you now, yeah, like they'll notice that and there's value in it. But there is something to be said for, you've been doing the show for 3 years. Somebody listened to that show a year and a half ago. It was not a fit for them, and they've just written you off for all of eternity. Like, yeah, that whole change of, no, this is a whole new thing and a whole new way that I am expressing myself as a professional to solve these problems and discuss these issues. Like, yeah, you're creating that chance to get people to say yes to you again, and it's such a hard thing to do, you know? So think about all of that. But again, this is why rebranding is not a dirty word. It's something that can get your podcast that's been struggling, you've put all this time into. On some level, you might be embarrassed by it. And I understand that. I've worked with shows like that. I've hosted shows like that. And it's just one of those things where you have to acknowledge that, yeah, you're evolving. You have more experience now. And this is freedom. So go take that risk. Go take the chance on rebranding. See what your show can look like with all the experience you have and all this new vision that you have. Like, it might change your energy level completely around the show. If you're just going through the motions and you're not excited about the show anymore, it might be time for a rebrand. So, like, embrace that. There's a lot of value in that. So, yeah, rebranding is not a dirty word. And if you want to talk about this, if you want to sit down with us, with me, with Taylor, talk about your show, your business, and how a rebrand could work for you, that's why we do the Compass Call. It's a free 30-minute call. I want you to go to the show notes literally right now. So in the show notes, there's a link to set up a Compass Call. You go to the link, schedule the call, and we'll talk for 30 minutes, no cost, no hidden fees, no bullshit. By the time we sit down, we know what your business is about, we know what kind of problems you have, and so we're getting right to the point. That's why we do this Compass Call. We are here to help you. We want to grow your business and your show. So set up that call, go to the show notes right now. But with that, now that we've covered rebranding, I had to cancel an appearance. I don't like doing it. I go on a lot of shows.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a very rare occurrence, so it must have been pretty ugly.
Yeah, I out there pitching all the time, right? I'm on different platforms, pitching myself constantly, pitching myself in different ways, different stories for different audiences. Like, there's a lot of gamesmanship, but generally, I try to just get on as many shows as I can, right? Like, boiling it all down, I'm just trying to get on as many shows as I can and get the word out about us. So let me break down this story for you of what happened with me trying to get on a show. So I make a pitch to a show that's in the business space, and they want to give me a chance to talk more like direct podcast marketing and how it helps a business. So they approve me. But when they do that, they say, well, do you have a blog? Because we for all of our guests, we do some sort of interview style recap, and we fill it with backlinks from our sponsor. And we would like you to post that on your blog. So do you have a blog, and is it okay to post that? And I immediately was like, no, I'm good. I don't have a blog. Like, thanks. I'll see you later. No interest in working with that.
Did they disclose don't say the name, but what the sponsors are?
No. And that was the bizarre thing to me, right? Like, because first off, if you're listening and you don't do guesting at all or very often, you might be thinking, like, is that common? This was not common. I've never been asked that in my life. I've never thought about asking somebody that in my life.
It's an extremely aggressive ask for such a simple, exchange.
Exactly. So to do that and not give any example whatsoever, it was so easy to say no.
I'm skeptical of the financial gain you're going to get from making people post a blog of, it's got nothing to do with what they're doing, probably, whoever's posting that blog.
All of this to say is, if you're going to do stuff like that with your guests, where you're asking them to do something, make it incredibly clear what that is. Like, please, here's an example. Here's what it would look like. Here's how it could apply to you, and offer that. I wouldn't recommend doing that,
I would say don't do that.
Do
not do that.
I don't think it's a good sustainable model, and it's going to off-put a lot of people. Like, because even if I said yes, it makes the relationship a little bit weird before we even do the interview.
Yeah, it's overly transactional now.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I always worry about, and there's been times where, as I'm trying to figure out the sales process with people, because sometimes, like, that's part of the game, right? I want to have guests and be a guest because I think there's opportunity to do business, whether it's strategic partnership, they're a client, I'm a client for them, whatever, what I mean?
Or they just need the help, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I totally get that, but I very actively try, unless they're like desperate for it and demanding it, I try not to even encroach the business side very seriously until after. Let me get 40 minutes with you to talk about my thing with no pressure behind it. Like, let's do the conversation, knock that out of the park. It's a public relationship in that way. And then if vibes are still good and the energy's right and you have a really deep understanding of what I'm about and I have a better understanding of what you're about, then yeah, this is going to be easier to sell. It's an easier relationship. But yeah, doing that kind of stuff before, it just gets tight. It just gets tight and awkward. So not a fan of it. Not a fan at all. Well, anyway, so that's it for today. And since you've made it to the end of this episode, first off, thank you for listening all the way through. We're glad that we could give you an episode that could deliver like that. And if you could, just as a thank you, take 2 seconds and give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening, that would be huge. Or on YouTube. We haven't even discussed this. If you're on YouTube, what?
Like and comment and subscribe.
There you go. Like, comment, subscribe. So, yeah, please do that. But the ratings, obviously, just, we live in a world where people want to see the ratings. They don't affect the algorithm. So I will put that out there for your standpoint. Like, don't be like, oh, my God, I got to goose the algorithm and get all these reviews. Like, Apple doesn't care. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have, and we appreciate it. It's a way of letting us know that you did get to the end of the episode. So, again, please take a second, give us a 5-star rating. For Taylor Cradatis, I am Vince Quinn. This is It's Not Just Talking, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe to the newsletter to get more podcast insights. That link is in the show notes. And if you're feeling stuck with your podcast, let's figure it out together. Book a free 10-minute chat with me. The link to do that is also in the show notes. Talk to you next week.